Chelsea have made another breakthrough in the transfer market by securing the signature of Giovanni Quenda, a Portuguese wonderkid who is considered one of the most promising talents in Europe. The 17-year-old will join the Blues in 2026 in a deal worth £40 million, leaving Sporting Lisbon to sign a 7-year contract with the option of a further 12 months. Quenda is not just a talented young player, but he has already started to make history in Portugal. Some of his records even beat Cristiano Ronaldo. One of them was becoming the youngest goal scorer in derby history against Porto in the Portuguese Super Cup final. Bernardo Silva also acknowledged his greatness, even joking that his position in the Portuguese national team could be threatened by Quenda. Known as an agile player with a deadly left foot, Quenda can operate on either wing. He has incredible speed in one-on-one situations and is also disciplined in defense. This is the reason why Chelsea were willing to beat Manchester United in the hunt for his signature. Ruben Amorim had wanted to bring him to Old Trafford after coaching him at Sporting. At Sporting, Quenda is still at the Alcochete Academy and is undergoing his education there, showing that he is not only a talented player, but also has a good mentality. Portugal are now placing high hopes on him, with coach Roberto Martinez including him in the senior squad for the match against Denmark, where he could potentially play alongside Cristiano Ronaldo and João Felix. If all goes according to plan, Chelsea could have two young stars born in 2007 on their flanks, Giovanni Quenda on one side and Estevão Willian on the other. The future at Stamford Bridge is bright. Thomas Tuchel has returned to the spotlight of English football after being appointed as the national team's head coach. And one of his most eye-catching decisions has been the call-up of Reece James to the England squad. James, who had been out for a long time due to injury, is now back at international level. However, Tuchel still doubts whether the Chelsea captain can return to his original position as a full-back. Since being taken over by Enzo Maresca, James has often been played in midfield, a decision that Tuchel does not fully agree with. According to him, James is still better suited to playing as a full-back or wing-back. I still think he's a better player at full-back or wing-back. I think we have enough specialists in midfield, said Tuchel. However, the biggest challenge for James is not just his position, but his fitness. Since leaving Chelsea, Tuchel has noticed that James has often suffered from injury problems, especially in the hamstring area. Now, although he has returned to playing regularly, he still has to prove that he can dominate the wing like before. We need to see if he can still do that. He has to prove that he can play in that position again with high intensity, Tuchel continued. James has been used in various roles by Maresca, including in a back three or even as a midfielder against FC Copenhagen. This change has left him less exposed to the high-intensity sprints that a full-back would normally do. Tuchel is aware that his new role may help reduce the risk of injury, but he is keen to see if James can still play in his original role to the full. Now, the decision is in Reece James's hands. Can he prove himself again as an elite fullback? Or will he find comfort in his new role in midfield? What is certain is that his future with the England national team remains full of questions. Chelsea have been given a breath of fresh air ahead of a crucial phase of the season. Enzo Maresca confirmed that Nicholas Jackson is getting closer to his comeback after suffering a hamstring injury since early February. Jackson's presence is highly anticipated, considering Chelsea have struggled to score goals during his absence. However, it's not just Jackson who is ready to return. Noni Madueke also has the opportunity to recover after the international break, providing additional energy for Chelsea's attack line. So, how are they progressing? When exactly can they return to play? And how will it affect Chelsea's performance going forward? Enzo Maresca confirmed in the latest press conference that Jackson and Madueke are scheduled to return after the international break. That means they could feature in the important match against Tottenham Hotspur on April 3rd. He can return after the international break, as can Noni. This is good news. Before the break, we have 2 games. Then there is a break to recover energy and players. After that, we are ready to face the rest of the season, said Maresca. With a tight schedule and high pressure, the return of Jackson and Madueke is a big boost for the Blues. Jackson's absence is very noticeable for Chelsea. Since suffering a hamstring injury in February, the Blues have experienced a decline in sharpness in the front line. In fact, the performance of Cole Palmer, who was previously a mainstay, has also declined, making it increasingly difficult for Chelsea to score goals. Jackson has so far been the team's top scorer in the Premier League, and without him, Chelsea seem to have lost their explosiveness. With a less effective attack line, minor results have begun to emerge. Not only that, Madueke's injury also made things worse. The young English winger had been a rotation option in the front line, but his and Jackson's absences have made Chelsea increasingly dependent on Palmer alone. Their presence after the international break will be very important, especially for the match against Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs are direct competitors in the fight for tickets to Europe, and Chelsea certainly want to face them with full strength. In addition to Jackson and Madueke, Chelsea also received good news from their captain, Reece James. The mainstay right-back has returned to training after missing the 1-0 win against Leicester City due to illness. James is a key figure in Chelsea's backline, and his return provides more options for Maresca. Moreover, Chelsea is experiencing problems in the defense sector with several players injured or sick in recent weeks. Chelsea itself was panicked when several players, including Cole Palmer and Christopher Nkunku, experienced health problems due to the virus that spread in the dressing room. However, reportedly Palmer, Nkunku and James have now returned to training with the main team. Cole Palmer, who shone so brightly last season, has now experienced a marked decline in performance in the second half of this season. If previously he was nicknamed Cold Palmer because of his calmness in front of goal, now the nickname is more often associated with his failure to score goals. 9 matches have passed without a single goal, and in the last 15 matches in all competitions, Palmer has only managed to score 3 goals. In fact, in the most recent match against Leicester City, he failed to execute a penalty, his first failure since joining Chelsea. Last season, Palmer was Chelsea's goal machine. He ended the season with 22 goals and 11 assists in the Premier League, making him the most productive player on the team. But this season, everything feels different. His confidence has decreased, and his effectiveness in front of goal has decreased drastically. One of the main causes of Palmer's decline is the decrease in the number of goals from the penalty spot. If last season 41% of his total goals came from penalties, this season that number has dropped to 21%. Without penalties as the main goal contributor, Palmer seems to have difficulty scoring from open play. In addition, the lack of consistency is also clearly visible. 4 of his goals this season came in a single game against Brighton, and 3 of his assists came in a single game against Wolves. If you take those 2 games away, Palmer's goals and assists this season look far from impressive. But has Palmer really experienced a decline in overall performance? If you look at the statistics in depth, the answer is not entirely so. His average shots per 90 minutes remains at 3.75, his non-penalty expected goals per 90 has even increased from 0.38 to 0.44, and his average expected assists per 90 has only dropped slightly from 0.30 to 0.27. In other words, he is still creating chances like last season, but his finishing is far from optimal. Another factor that could affect Palmer's performance is his physical condition. Enzo Maresca revealed that Palmer had been sick and absent from training before the match against Leicester. Although he still forced himself to play, his physical condition was clearly not at its best. Now, Palmer faces a big challenge. Chelsea will face Arsenal in a crucial match this weekend. This could be a moment of revival for the young star. If he can score or make a big contribution in this game, his confidence could return, and he could end the season in a better way. There is still time for Cole Palmer to prove himself again. Will he be able to bounce back and become Chelsea's goal machine again? All eyes are on him.